Hopefully Mark will be along sometime. Leanne, you ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Woodstock Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency. This meeting is the Monday, September 8th, 2025 meeting, and it's 7:03 p.m. And we'll start with a roll call.
Marla Butts.
Stuart Peasley.
Bill Rowinski.
Bill Barrett. I'm just I guess I'm waiting. I'm on the agenda, but
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Barrett.
Yeah. Kathleen
Barrett, but I don't know what happened to my camera. I got to get a new camera.
We can still see you, Kathleen.
Can you?
Yep.
Okay, because
Okay.
I don't.
Marilyn and Bob Rath.
Yep. And
Leanne
Mark Parker.
Chappelle.
Yep, Leanne. Hopefully Mark will be joining us soon. Appointments of alternates. We do, just back up 1 minute, we do have a quorum.
All right, Mark
Appointment of
Mark Parker is about to join. He's on his
Okay.
way in. Zoom in.
Yep.
Hang on. And wetlands agent John Guskowski is here.
Okay. Sometimes Mark has issues getting
Yeah,
on.
I did let him in. He's joining. Yeah, it's taking him a second to log in. Here he comes.
Mark, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Okay, we've just started, so we haven't really done anything. The next thing is appointment of alternates, and we don't have any alternates to appoint. Next, we have action on minutes of the previous meeting, the regular meeting of August 4th, 2025. Does anybody have any corrections or illuminations?
Yes, Marla Butts speaking. Page 4, near the bottom, item H, recommended zoning change regulations. It states that Gutowski stated that he took over for Delia Fay and will reassemble her plan to discuss in more detail at the upcoming meeting. I think that was in relation to the plan of conservation and development. And I think that we had talked about dealing with the recommended zoning changes at a later date. So I don't think H is accurately represents what happened. So I think H should probably read recommended zoning changes to be discussed at a later meeting, and then move that sentence starting with Gustowski down to the beginning of number I, POCD updates.
Well, Marla, I don't want to disagree with you, but my recollection was I was explaining the potential reason why planning and zoning might not be interested in taking up significant changes to their zoning regulations at this time, and that is because of the update to the POCD.
Okay, so is it your recollection that we said we would discuss this at a later time, because we haven't voted on that?
Yeah, that was my recollection.
Yeah. Okay, so then all I would suggest that is we add after the header, but before the start of the Gutowski stated that it was agreed that the proposed the recommended zoning regulations would be discussed at a later date.
Anything else?
No. It's very
Right,
good.
I'm gonna back up to pending applications. 6A. The first thing is, as presented by the applicant, the project involves replacing a rotted 30-inch corrugated steel pipe under Harrisville Road. That was previously done, I believe, last year. I just brought up the issue that it looked like it was changed so recently.
But the project didn't involve the replacing of the rotted pipe,
No,
so that's not quite correct. The town replaced a 30-inch corrugated steel pipe under Harrisville Road earlier in the
within the
year.
last year. I think it was at least last year.
Mhm. So how do you want that to read? As presented by the applicant, the town replaced a rotted 30-inch corrugated steel pipe under Harrisville Road at some time prior,
Within the last several years.
within the last several years. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
So there's as presented by the applicant, the town replaced a rotted 30-inch corrugated steel pipe under Harrisville Road in the last several years.
Yep. And then in that same section, a couple of bullets down. The design is based on the size of the existing culvert, as no hydraulic study of the upper watershed has been conducted. I believe in Mr. Salvis's NRCS plan, there was some hydraulic surveying done. Is that my remembrance correct?
They told me they didn't do any hydraulic analysis.
Okay,
They verbally
just
told
wanted-
me that. Yeah.
okay, so I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
And under new applications, just, I don't know that we need to fix this. Under A, the 11 Dupree Road, the second bullet, an 18-inch pipe was recommended by Jason from the Highway Department and contractor Sean. In early May, the town extended the culvert to address ongoing clogging issues. I don't know, this is kind of after the fact and having more information from Jason. I don't know that Jason originally recommended an 18-inch pipe.
This is what the applicants claimed, though. So
Okay.
I think if you add in front of it, the applicants claimed in front of the word an 18-inch pipe.
Okay, that sounds good. That's all I have. Does anybody else have any other corrections? So I would entertain a motion to approve these minutes.
I move to accept the minutes of the Woodstock Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency meeting of Monday, August 4th, 2025, with corrections made to, as discussed, paragraph, item 6A, first bullet, replacing project involves with town, replacing with replaced, and at the end of the sentence, in the last several years. Then second change is on page 3, item 7A. The second bullet will start with, add the words, the applicants claimed. And the third change is on page 4. Item 8H, is it 8H? Yeah, 8H. To add after the words recommended zoning regulation changes, add the words proposed zoning regulations at proposed, proposed to discuss recommended zoning regulations at a later date, period. And then continue on with what was there.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Marla Butts, second by Kathleen Barrick to accept the minutes with the corrections as enumerated in Marla's description of the motion. Is there any further discussion? All
I'm
those
not
in
sure.
favor,
I was just
Go
gonna say,
ahead.
I'm not sure I said number H correctly. So I'll
Oh,
just
no.
just reiterate that. I'm not gonna change it, just so that it's clear on the record. To add the words proposed recommended zoning change to be discussed at a later date.
Oh, okay.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, and the motion passes unanimously. At this point, we will have a brief period of citizens' comments. If anybody has joined the meeting and would like to comment on something that's not on the agenda and that is brief in nature, now is your time to bring it forward if there's anybody on. Okay, not hearing or seeing anyone, we will move on to pending applications. Application 0507-2504, 4 Little Horn Lane, Marilyn and Bob Rath, for stabilizing wall and adding improving grade access to the water. Now we have some drawing details and some maps and pictures.
John, can you screen share that with us?
I sure can. Okay. We want the application form
Yeah,
or, okay,
let's start with the form first,
Okay.
just so that we,
sure thing.
so my recollection was we were asking for some additional details on this. And perhaps the Raths can explain what they provided and ask John to screen share whatever it is, additional information you want us to see beyond what's in the application form itself.
Yes, let's wait. Yes, I sent 4 additional documents to John at the committee's discretion. If you could put those up.
Could you be more specific? Which
Those
one would
were-
you like me to start with? Because I can only share one thing at a time. So tell me which one I'm
Okay,
sharing.
all right, understood. I didn't know what the process would be. That's good.
Okay.
I think the best thing to start with, one, you asked for a better description of what we were going to do. And so we have a drawing, and I think that's readily apparent. John, which
Sure.
item that
What's
is?
the hand-drawn
Yes,
project
please.
plan? Okay.
Yes, please. And while that comes up, the other things you asked for was a cross-section of what the stacked wall would look like. You also asked what the mortared top wall would look like. And I also have a picture of this same area. So let's start with this. You can see from this hand drawing, the house is in the upper right-hand corner. And you are looking where it says water, that's where the water is. And just above the water, you'll see a dotted line and then another line, and there's a 7 next to each one, approximately 7 feet. And the circles are trees, existing trees. And so the wall change that we want to make is the dotted line to remove that wall and move it to basically where the blue line is.
Mhm.
And you'll see that there's a line that says existing fence line. Immediately to the left of the tree is the elevation is right at water. There's a beach. So on the other side of the tree on the left, it's basically at water elevation with the wall in the way.
So we're gonna bring this over where the dotted line is, we'll be bringing water level over to that area, and the blue line would be the new retaining wall.
How will you match grade with the land on the other side of the fence?
Well, that is it's that grade there right now.
So
There's
it's
no
only-
water there though, but you show it going back, the existing
Yeah.
fence, and she just said, Mrs. Rath just said that you were gonna have water going up to where it says the first fence post.
So we're leaving the tree there. So
Yeah.
on the left of the fence post where it shows, if we said it's a beach, that's sand. So on the right side of the tree where it says dotted line, that will
Mhm.
now be at the same level.
John,
So
could
then
we
we'll
go
have
to the
sand.
could we go to the shoreline picture?
Sure.
And that's the one that shows the two trees there with some red
Yeah.
and green markings.
Yes, and I basically drew on the picture so that you could see the same area we're talking about.
So to
Okay.
the right of the left tree where the right line starts, the red line starts,
Mhm,
that will be at the same level as the left side of the tree.
mhm,
So it's a few inches lower.
mhm,
And where the red line is the current retaining wall that we're
mhm,
gonna remove. And
Mhm.
to the right green
mhm,
is where the
mhm,
new retaining wall will sort of circle in. It won't go in very far, but we're just
Mhm.
basically making it a little bit lower there, so it'll be at the same level as the left side of the tree. And you can see it's a sloping access anyway, so there's
mhm.
very little that will have to be removed on the left side of the red line. There's very little that will have to go down because it's almost at the same level as the left side of the tree.
Mhm. Okay, so what kind of tree is that? Is that an oak or is that a maple?
It's all red
They're
swamp
oaks.
maple, red swamp maple.
Okay, so the question I have is you may end up losing that tree if you remove soil from where the retaining wall that you're gonna remove. You probably have a root system that carries back into the upland from the lake, because that's where its root system would be. So if you're
Right.
gonna dig down, there's a thing called root to shoot ratio. So
Yep.
if you're gonna cut up some of the root system, you're gonna have to cut an equivalent portion of the crown. Otherwise, the tree could go into senescence and die.
Yep.
Have you taken that into account with what you want to do?
Yes, and which is one of the reasons that we plan to do everything we can to protect the tree. We can't guarantee that
Mhm.
that we won't lose it, but if you looked at our property, you would see that we go to great lengths to save our trees,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll continue to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You also had a cross section.
Yeah, yes,
Can we look at that, John? That's called the Rath Fieldstone Wall cross section.
yes. And at the end of the meeting, one of the members mentioned that I should look online for a cross section of a fieldstone wall, and this was the best picture I could find. I
Mhm.
confirmed with our mason that that's basically how he's going to build a wall.
Mhm.
And the other picture that's in your package is a wall that he built for us that shows the taper with a change in elevation and a mortared cap. So I wanted to provide that as an example of what we already have on the property and that this will be done in a similar fashion.
So that picture entitled Wrath Stone Wall with Cap and Mortar,
Yeah,
that is in fact not associated with the walls that you're modifying. It's elsewhere
Correct.
on your property. It's just an example of what you're going to build.
correct.
Correct.
What our mason will, it's the same mason that built that is going to do
Mhm.
this.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. That cleared up. I was wondering what that picture was for.
And you can see our house in the background. So the other one had house indicated on it. So
Mhm.
this is in front of our current house, a little further over.
Gotcha.
Do you want me to quickly share that picture also?
Yeah, why
As
not?
an example?
Yep.
So our house is in the background there. So this is the existing area that we want to change is directly to the left of this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he puts the cap on it so it's stable, so we don't have to worry about anything tipping.
It looks like your roof drains go into a dry well. Is that blue on the side? That's from your gutter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Going to
Yes.
fish drain, yes.
I don't have any questions. I don't have any problem with this application as I've seen it so far. You're not planning to put any sand in, are you? For a beach?
There's sand immediately on the other side of the fence. So yes, we wanted to match that.
Okay, so you want to place some, how much cubic yardage of sand do you think you want to place?
Put it in there, 10 yards, wasn't it?
Is it
In
10
the
yards?
original app,
It's
Okay,
in the
let me take a
original
look.
app.
yeah,
All right,
The second page enumerates that 10 yards of beach sand.
yes.
got it. I see it. Thank you. I don't have any further questions. I have no problem with this application as presented.
This is the bill. I don't have any problems either. It's just, you're gonna have to see how the wave action will affect your beach sand, whether it's gonna wanna pull it out or push it out or push it all to one side. Can't really see that right now, so.
Right.
Right.
Understood.
Well, you've been there for a while and there's sand next door to you. You haven't noticed
Correct.
that's migrated a lot, has it?
No, it has
No.
not.
No. So
Good.
you're not at an area where there's a large fetch for wind to grab it and pull it.
No,
Right. It's a,
fairly protected.
yeah, protected cove.
And Lake Bungie has a no motorized rule, is that,
No,
You know,
no, there's
speed-
motorboats on the lake.
oh, there is.
Yeah.
Is there any speed limit or anything that,
Yeah.
not,
Yes, speed limit.
okay, all right.
But like you said, this is a protected, fairly protected area.
I move to approve.
Everybody else? Go ahead.
If anybody else has any comment, doesn't have any comments, I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
I move to approve application 07-25-04 for Little Horn Lane, map 7272, block 34, lot OC19 by Marilyn and Bob Rath for constructing a replacement retaining wall and the placement of 10 cubic yards of sand in the upland review area and on the lake's edge.
Second,
Yeah, we have a motion by Marla Butts, seconded by Mark Parker to approve application 07-25-04. Is there any further discussion on this? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
aye,
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yep. Good night.
You-
Okay, John, you want to take over on describing the next new applications?
Sure. So the next one is application 082501 37 Phelps Road, George Place Irrevocable Trust, care of Russell Barber. This is a timber harvest application. I'm happy to put it up on the screen. It's well here. I'll put up the location map. But I'll be honest, this is the first timber harvest application I've been working on in quite some time, so I would defer to your commission's process for how you'd like to handle.
Well, Marla Butt speaking, I would have preferred Hull Forest Products to have provided colored. The photo that they've used, it's really hard to see and read, so I had to go to the town's GIS system. And
too, sure.
yeah, and when I did that, the GIS system, and I can screen share what I found on the GIS system if that's of any help.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I'll click share. And then I have to select the windows that are open. Oh, wait a minute, that's not it.
I can go there too, Martha, or Marla, if you'd prefer.
No, actually, what I have to screen share is actually a screen print. Can you
Oh.
see that? Did I get to share that?
Not yet.
All right. Well, I just opened it up again. Let me see where you are on my screen. Okay. Now let me share. How come it's not showing up?
There you go. It's happening.
All right.
But now you're
But
just looking at your Zoom screen.
my Zoom screen. Okay.
Selected
So
the wrong window.
yeah, unfortunately, there it is. Can you see that?
No, you need to stop share and then reshare, selecting something
Stop
else.
share. Okay. And then share again. Share. Let's see if that shows up. Can you see that?
It's coming. There we go.
Now
Yep.
we got, yeah,
Okay. So this is the 2000, I believe it's the 2016 aerial with the 2016 2-foot LiDAR.
Looks like you have the
And-
2023
Okay, it's
aerial
2023.
selected. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so it is the 2023, not the 2016. I think I wrote at the top, you can say screenshot. It says, note that the GIS records identify the owner as George F. Place as an individual. Land records do not contain a transfer to an irrevocable trust. The stream crossing occurs in the George Gorge according to the application. That's using an existing crossing, an existing culvert crossing. I don't have any problem with the application itself, because when you look at what the timber harvest was, they were pretty well staying away from this area. Can you see my cursor?
Yep.
yep.
Okay, this area is wetlands. And then there's some other wetlands over here, and then there's a stream that comes down. And so if you look at, that was what the mapped wetlands show on NRCS's mapping, which we know is not accurate. But I'm pretty convinced that what they're proposing to do is not a problem. But I do have a concern that there was no deed filed to the irrevocable trust, and perhaps Mr. Barber can explain why there's nothing on the land records transferring the land to the trust from the gentleman, the George Place. Did we lose him?
I'm not
He
sure
was
we.
on.
I'm not sure we had him.
He was on.
Was he? Okay.
Yep. So in the absence of it, and I actually went to town hall today to see if maybe maybe there's something wasn't accurate on the GIS, to make sure that I wasn't getting incorrect information. So I did go to the town clerk's office and double check to see if there was a transfer from Mr. Place to the revocable trust, and I did not find it. So I would not recommend, I would recommend tabling this application at this time and providing the applicant to come with evidence that the trust has rights to timber harvest on this property, since the land has not been transferred out of the individual's hands at this time, according to the Woodstock land records. You see on the left side of the screen, it says owner's name, George F. Place. So I don't know. And that's something that Hull Forest Products would probably want to know about too also. So John, did this application come in from, Mr. Barber signed it as the owner, the trustee, as the trustee for the trust.
Right.
But was it presented, was it provided by Hull Forest Products, or was it provided by Mr. Barber? Do you know?
I was not in the office when it was dropped off.
Okay, okay. So I think you should notify the applicant or the owner, the person who signed the application, or Hull Forest Products, and indicate to them that we don't have evidence that this is owned by the trust. It's owned by an individual.
I
And
can,
given,
yeah, I can contact them. My question for you, Marla, and maybe the rest of the commission is, does this need to be tabled? Or if there's no problem with it, could it just be, you know, tentatively approved pending proof?
my concern is I've heard about properties being transferred to other people without their knowledge.
Mhm.
I've heard about, and then there's quite a bit of value in timber. And if Mr. Place has not actually created a trust or has a trust in his name, and it's somebody else is presenting it, I'm not saying that Mr. Barber's maybe has just failed to record the deed. But I think that we shouldn't be granting timber harvest approvals on lands that we don't know if we have the right to enter onto it, because when they sign the application, they sign the right for the commission to inspect the property if it needed to. And if the trust is not the owner, then the trust can't make that granting of right to enter onto the property.
Right. I understood all of that. I'm just wondering why it would be necessary for the full commission to table this, bring it up a month hence, if they could drop something off to prove that the existence of the trust tomorrow.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Well, just the fact that they have trust papers doesn't mean that the land has been transferred. The transfer of the land has to show up on the land records. So if they can provide the volume and page for where the trust was, you know, where the land was transferred to this trust, then that would be fine, because you can verify that.
Right.
I would not have an objection that way.
So I think John's question is, would we possibly make conditional approval if that information, that justification can be made by the applicant?
Well, the only justification that could be made would be the volume and page in the land records that the deed is filed to the trust. You know, just having trust papers that says that there's a trust
Right.
established.
Yeah. No, it would. Yeah. It needs
have to be
have it legally
filed.
transferred to the right.
Right. Right. I don't, you know, I've never had this happen before. I've never had conditional approvals on uses permitted as of right, but I assume it's valid. How does everybody else think?
Bill,
Well,
Marla, the fact that there's this much discussion going on and there's some uncertainty, I feel like there's no problem with tabling it for a month.
John, is there a contract that they have with Hull Forest Products that has a timeline set for it?
Let me see. So we have all of the information that was part of this application is been.
Yeah.
scanned,
Sometimes
so-
Hull Forest Products would provide a copy of the contract with the amounts X'd out, and I don't see that in this application.
No, I don't either.
They just have a date of basically the month of November.
So there's
Or
time
harvest.
still. There's
Yeah.
time. Because it would only be October, or they wouldn't be starting till November, so there's no reason why we couldn't table it. Does anybody else have any opinion? No? Mark?
That's,
I don't-
So you repeat to me again what it is that you have concern about.
Going
Is
down.
it that George Place is, I mean,
He's the
I know,
owner.
yeah, he's the owner. I also buried him this past year. This is his irrevocable trust, whatever.
They didn't
Mm.
file it though on the land record,
Right.
so
Yeah, Marla is pointing out that the as far as the town is concerned, or as far as the town is aware, let's say, Mr. Place is still the owner.
and it's
Okay.
part of his, if you buried him, it's part of his estate.
His
But if
state,
he-
correct, right, yeah.
If he has signed the papers off before and they just failed to file them, all they need to do is file the papers and then that's done.
Yeah.
but
How
the
long
trust
does that-
doesn't,
The question is, how long does that filing process take?
Well, they should have the deeds already for the property to go into the trust. Whenever you established a trust and you're transferring the land to the trust under the control of the trust, it would have to be filed on the land records, which means you need a deed, you need a lawyer usually to draft up the deed and file it on the land records.
You're looking at a month right there.
He's still not planning to do it until November.
Well, the only question is, it might be, I mean, if there's any consideration for Hall at all, if they have a timeline that they're trying to meet. Is a month gonna kill them or not?
Well, if they're not planning to harvest till November anyways,
Oh, is that for sure?
that's what they wrote on the form.
Okay. Yeah.
Estimated start time, November 1st. Finished
And-
December 1st.
Then I'd let the wheel turn according to the legal process.
I can be in touch with them in the morning just to let them know. Sure, that's not a.
I'll move to table application 08-25-01, 37 Phelps Road, map 5130, block 30, lot 14B, for a timber harvest by George F. Place Irrevocable Trust in care of Russell Barber.
I second.
okay, we have a motion by Marla Butts, seconded by Kathleen Barrick to table application 08-25-01. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? Okay, the motion passes.
Shall I continue, Mr. Chair? Shall I continue with the next
Yes,
one?
go,
Okay.
yes, go ahead. Yeah.
So Marla, could you stop your screen share?
Oh, sorry about that. Oh, gotta get the right cursor. I'm working two computers. Okay, stop sharing. There we go.
So for this next one, we have an application by Glenn Lee. Whoa, something's happening on my computer. Glenn Lee for a driveway cross, a wetlands crossing for the establishment of a driveway off of Route 197, map 5124, block 19, lot 20, for the construction of a future single-family residence. I believe we are joined by Norm Tebow, engineer with Killingley Engineering Associates, who prepared the application. You could probably give us a brief overview if you're with us, Norm.
Yeah, I am. I'm actually on my phone. I was just driving back from Griswold, and I just walked back into my office.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to,
look-
let me try to join in on my computer here, which will make it a little bit easier.
Okay, yeah, I see you jumping in. Hang on.
Yeah, all right, and then once I'm in, I can hang up on my phone. There we go. All right. You got me?
Yeah, we have you. And Norm, if you want me to share something on the screen, let me know. I can pop it up.
Yeah, if you'd like to just share the drawing, that would be great.
Okay. Glenn Lee, the site plan. Yeah, all right, here it comes. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Okay. It's all yours, Norm.
All right. So, what we have here is a proposed driveway that is crossing a narrow point of the wetlands on Mr. Lee's property. And it is an existing logging trail that he's been using to access the property for a number of years. But his desire is to build his home further in on this property, which is about 22 acres in size. And the driveway right now, as you approach the wetlands, is very steep. It's about 30%. So what we're doing is making it a little more accessible. We're coming off of Route 197 at about 3%, and then it's going to drop to 12%. And once it crosses the wetlands, it goes back uphill again as you head further south into the property. The project will require about 1,125 square feet of wetlands impact. This is previously disturbed area. As I said, it has been used as a crossing for a number of years. The watershed coming through here is pretty small. I believe it's just a little over 30 acres, if I recall. I don't have my report in front of me, but I did include that in the application.
It's, well, the property is 22.2 acres.
That's correct. And that is the narrowest point of the wetlands. The wetlands kind of bisect the property going east to west along the whole frontage. So the only way to get into it is to actually cross the wetlands. And we've selected a point where it's been utilized before, and it's also the narrowest point of the wetlands.
Norm, is Stuart Peasley here. Is there another address besides 0 Route 197?
No,
It's properties aren't given addresses until they have some sort of structure on them.
When
So
the
just
building
for cla-
permit is issued.
Right.
So
Trying
just
to-
for
I'm trying to Go to
clarification,
the,
but
I'm trying to go to the town map and it's not.
Yeah, you'd have to search by map, block, and lot.
yeah, it's right across the street from 1623, which is Mr. Lee's current residence.
Okay,
So Norm, is this actually on the red-white Schoolhouse Road end of 197? Or is this the other part of 197? I should have written in bigger letters and I could have.
Yeah, if you can look at the locus map that we have on the right, upper right-hand corner of the plan. Perhaps John could zoom in on that a little bit.
Yeah, and it's, well, and I just also note that the locus map is oriented where north is pointing down and to the right. So,
Yeah, so flips around. So is this close?
so here it's, so
Is
east of
this close to-
198 and Sherman. So I'm sorry, it's just to the east of Route 198.
Yeah, it looks like it's west of the 198, 197 intersection.
it's
Down
just
near
up the hill.
Foreman's Auto Repair?
Yeah, it's just up the
Yes.
hill heading east.
On the other side of the road.
Okay,
It's where, if you've been on that
Oh,
road in
right,
recent
yeah,
times, there was a pile of stones recently there, and then there was a piece of machinery there. When Dan Malo was the agent, I had asked him to investigate that. And apparently when he was looking at the maps on the GIS, he was looking at the National Wetlands Inventory map and not the wetland soils map that was done by NRCS. So I had asked him to contact the owner to tell him that he was going to need a permit to cross that watercourse wetlands area, the wetlands area that was shown on the plan. And that's the site right there. You can see there's if you've driven by it recently, you would have seen a pile of stone because he stopped his work once he got notified by Dan that he was going to need a permit to cross the wetlands. And
Yeah, are you still
and-
seeing the
and I
site plan or did you switch over to the aerial with me?
that's the aerial.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I wasn't sure what the screen share was doing. Okay.
I'm not screen sharing as somebody else is doing that.
Yeah, no,
Not
that's
me.
me. But
Oh, that's you. Okay. So if he's gonna, I had told Dan at that time that he should have a soil, because the NRCS soils delineations, they're not delineations, mapping is grossly inaccurate. It's only for guideline purposes that he would really need to have a soil scientist do a delineation of the wetlands. And that's what you see on the application. They've actually been delineated for the first crossing. So he's not proposing to go any farther to cross the other branch that's shown on the NRCS mapping. He's just proposing to get into the property because he really can't get into the property without having this map, this application.
That's correct. And the wetlands were delineated by Rick Zulik.
And that was very recent, I take it.
Yes,
Does this map have his name on it? Let's see, wetlands were delineated.
yeah,
Okay, there
in
you
the title block it says
Yep.
it.
see it.
It was yeah, we have it right at the title block on the right-hand side.
Yep, and he's got them numbered, so we know that he didn't miss you guys didn't miss a flag when he was putting it in.
That's
Good.
correct.
Do you know if they actually flagged the other side of that knoll? Where when we were looking at the NRCS mapping, it showed two legs. This is the first leg that come off of 197, and there's another leg farther to the south. He's
Right,
not
right.
proposing to do anything
Those-
at this time,
They're
but
not,
did you know?
exactly, they're not proposing anything else at this time there.
Okay, I was just wondering if they did the mapping at that, when they did this mapping. You didn't survey any other flags, did you?
No, we located what was there.
Okay,
So Norm, Bill
Yes.
Rowinski, I have a question for you. Do you already have a approval from DOT for a driveway at this location?
There's already an apron there. So he's been utilizing it to enter the property. I would, when he goes to build his home, we will be submitting to the Connecticut DOT at that point.
Okay.
do you have a sequence of construction for the work coming off the road? Because I know you've got a stormwater management basin for the runoff coming off the street
Yeah,
before
the
it gets.
development schedule is on sheet 2 of the plans.
Okay, got it. All right, so we're just receiving this application. We can't render a decision on it
That's correct.
since it's actual permits. That'll give us time to take a look at that.
Hey, Norm, this
I
is
don't-
Bill again. I have something you might want to correct on Exhibit B. Said the subject property is located on Route 171. So I think that believes correct to 187.
Yes, I will correct that. My apologies.
I'm just checking to see if I had anything else. So just because there's an apron there, do you think that there'd be any issue with the DOT?
There's
really
there's no activity within there in that right now. They're just gonna be putting the anti-tracking pad. I think when it's time to put a more dedicated apron there that goes all the way to the right-of-way line, we will need to get a DOT approval at that point.
So you don't see any possible barriers that tell you to move that 30 feet up the road or anything?
No, sight
Sightline's
line's very good there.
Okay, just clarifying. That was kind of my assumption, but just to make sure that we know where we're going.
Absolutely.
I don't have any further questions. Bill,
I'm all set too. Would somebody like to make a motion on this?
I move to accept application. Where are we on?
7B.
09-25-02. No, that's not it.
Oh, one.
09-25-01, 0 Route 197, map 5124, block 19, lot 20. For wetlands crossing for driveway for potential future residents to be accepted. Didn't I say that?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Marla Butts, seconded by Stuart Peasley to accept application 09-25-01, 0197 for Glen Lee for wetlands crossing for driveway construction for future residents. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? Okay, the motion passes. Thank you.
Thank
Norm.
you. We'll see you next month.
Yep, thank you. Okay, moving on to the next one.
Okay, so this is application 09-25-02, 47 Gray Fox Landing. The applicant, Joseph Olivo, looking to build an accessory dwelling unit in the upland review area. Mr. Olivo, I believe, is with us. I'm just going to quickly share the aerial photo that was included as part of the application that shows soil delineation along Gray Fox Landing. And Mr. Olivo, with the chairman's permission, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, do you have the drawing as well?
Is it part of the application package? Let me see.
It was dropped off.
Or is it separate? Okay, hang on. Let me see.
It's accessory drawing. Accessory dwelling, Olivia accessory dwelling, 25-08-25. There's one for details and then there's another one
Oh, okay.
for the site
Do
plan.
you want,
The plan,
Bill, so you want the
please.
site plan? Okay, here it comes.
Yeah, so you can see it's outside of the wetlands, but within the setback area. It would basically be constructing a boulder wall and then infilling that to make a level area for a concrete pad and an accessory dwelling unit, which would basically be like a pre-manufactured mobile type home. And then some grading for a driveway for that. And you can see there'd be hay bales and erosion control devices. And then it would be adding a sewer pump and tying into our existing septic system.
So John, I have a question for you. What is the current status on the definition of mobile home and the acceptability and zoning in Woodstock?
As long as it's permanently affixed to the ground, in this case, it will be on a slab. It's not
Okay.
considered mobile. It's not, yeah. So we have no sort of design standards of what a house ought to look like. So as long as it's
Okay,
structurally sound and permanently affixed to the ground, it's a house.
okay. Because I believe there was restrictions on that in the past. But anyways, the only other comment I have is you get an 1.25 inch sewer force main that's going for quite a long run. And even though you have the grinder pump, that's, hopefully it doesn't clog up.
I leave, excuse me, I leave that up to the engineers. I'm not an expert on that.
May I ask a question, Bill?
Go ahead.
First of all, for the metal ramp, I take it this is a bedroom for someone that needs a wheelchair?
Yes, this would at least initially serve as an in-law.
Okay. And what's the definition of an accessory building in the context of the limitations as to how many acres you need and all of that kind of stuff? I'm just not familiar with, I mean, I know that, is this considered, because it's an accessory, it's part of the main house?
So that's a zoning question. It's a zoning definition. I can get into that a little bit. It's not really the wetlands purview, but
Okay.
not to cut you off, but I
Yeah,
want
no,
to
I don't want to take up any
make sure-
time that we don't
yeah,
have to.
but
It's
it's
just,
the town allows an accessory dwelling unit on any residential lot, assuming you can meet setbacks and assuming you can meet public health standards. So as long as the septic stuff works and he's meeting setbacks, you can have a detached accessory dwelling unit of up to 1,000 square feet on any residential lot.
thank you. That pretty much answers it.
Kathleen, some towns are using the accessory dwelling to meet their low income
Yeah,
requirements
oh,
in a
okay.
town. Because I have a nephew who actually is in Haddam, East Haddam, and he's building an accessory building, and they're using that for their low income housing,
Oh.
affordable housing.
Yeah,
I have no problem with this application, Bill.
me
So where
either.
so what is your desire to move on this application?
I would move that application 09-25-02, 47 Gray Fox Landing, map 6379, block 58,
Whoop, it
lot
says 97.
4-11, by Joseph Olivio to construct an accessory dwelling unit in the upland review area to be approved as a wetlands agent approval. Sorry about that.
Marla, maybe I heard it wrong, but I thought you said 6379. Is that?
Oh,
and I
6397.
it
see
should be 6397.
97 on
Yeah.
the paper, yes.
Yep. I'm a little
do we-
numerically dyslexic sometimes.
You're
Do we
allowed.
have a second? Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Marla Butt, second by Kathleen Barrick to
Approve
the
as a
right word
wetlands
I'm
agent approval.
approve as a wetlands agent approval application 09-25-02, 47 Gray Fox Landing for an accessory dwelling unit in the upland review area to be processed as a wetlands agent approval. Does anybody have any further discussions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain? Okay, the motion passes.
Thank you.
So, yeah, you can get in touch with John, or John will get in touch with you one
Yeah.
way or the other and work out the details.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Yeah,
Right.
good night. Thank you.
So speaking of agent approval, under administrative business, we have an application at 48 West Quasit, application 08-2502. William Barrett, who is with us. I'm going to quickly screen share this one. It is a small accessory structure in the upland review area proposed. And with the chairman's approval, I'll let Mr. Barrett describe the project.
Yeah, go ahead.
A 12 by 16 shed, located with the X on that map. I guess the only issue is that I'm about 60 feet from the water's edge. I'm not sure what else to describe here.
Mr. Barrett, looking at the air photo, it looks like you have a ponded area and maybe some kind of water course area. It looks like you have also possibly some wetlands there. I'm not sure. There's just to the, well, let's see, to the north of the pooled area. So you see the shed, then there's
Yeah.
a dark area that looks like a pond, a little pond.
Yeah.
And then north of that looks like maybe a swampy area or an unmowed area.
Yeah, that's a cattails and unmowed, and it's definitely
Okay.
wetlands.
So, where your shed is being proposed, it's not as wet as where that pond is and where the cattails are?
No, I'm probably 100 feet from that. And
Mhm.
I mow. This is all regular lawnmower stuff that I've been mowing for
Yep.
years.
Yep.
And so that little pond that you see is simply, this is before my time here. It's a trench that goes along, I'll call it the south edge, and that edge is got a sort of a watershed trench, and there's a pipe that comes out of it and runs into that little pond,
Mm-hmm.
which then goes to the second little pond, all by little pipes, and then that culvert from that smaller pond catches to the right and left, basically the water coming off West Quasit Road all the way from the neighbor's property, and it kind of hits that culvert. It's about a 12-inch culvert and hits the lake. So it's all dry from the lake's edge to what those little ponds are is basically mowed grass and lawn.
Yeah, so I don't have any problem with the shed at all, but I think in the future, if you decide you want to do something else, you're probably going to need to have the wetlands flagged because it's possible that where you're mowing actually is wetland soils. It's just that you're mowing it so you don't see it's not as wet as where the cattails are, but it could have the modeling at the location. So I don't have a problem with the shed because it's in lawn area. And it would be covered, I think, under maintenance and enjoyment of a residential home in any case. But you've applied for a wetlands agent approval. So I don't have any problem with John processing it with the understanding that in the future that if you want to build other structures, you may want to have a soil scientist delineate the actual location of wetlands on your property.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
cattails is a marsh, so a marsh is a water course also by definition, and it usually has wetland soils underneath it. So,
Okay. Yep. I think I'm done building anything. Honestly, I have enough sheds. The sheds are just a bad habit. Like more junk.
So shall we move on this or just let John handle it?
I think John can process this as a wetlands agent approval at this point in time.
Okay.
I
So you
have
don't,
no problem with that.
there's no motion because of that's the way it was applied and you're just getting a general consensus that you guys are in concurrence with that?
Yeah, typically, when an application comes in, if you bring it to our attention first, it would come on as a new application, and then we would just say, like we did with Olivio, is that you process it as a wetlands agent approval. So I can move to say, to have that for this so that it's really clear on the record.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'll move that application 08-25-02 for 48 West Quasit Road, map 6393, block 65, lot 224, capital A-1 by William Barrett for the placement of a 12-foot by 16-foot shed on gravel within the upland review area. Be processed as a wetlands agent approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Marla Butts, seconded by Stuart Peasley to process application 08-25-02, 48 West Quasit Road for William Barrett as a wetlands agent approval. Is there any further discussion?
Who
All
seconded
those in
that?
favor? Stuart.
Okay, thanks, sorry.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed or abstained? Okay, the motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Barrett.
All right, so thank you. So this is, I could proceed with the shed, that's what we're saying? Do I have to do anything else beyond this?
No, I'll issue you a letter of approval this week,
Great.
and then we can proceed. And then you'll need to pull 12 by 16. That's under 200, so just a zoning permit also, and probably a health department sign off.
Okay. All right, so appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay, moving on to the wetlands agent report.
Okay, so my agent report was posted online. I'm happy to answer any questions. I did have one additional question that came up today that didn't make it into the wetlands report. On Muddy Brook, I'm sorry, Muddy Pond, Pond Factory Road. A potential resident was looking at buying a piece of property and was interested in putting in a dock. This is, it's not sort of waters of the state. I think actually Muddy Pond is privately owned, even though the town uses it for a. So I just wanted to know what the process is for vis-a-vis wetlands for placement of a dock on an inland pond.
Is it stationary
I don't know.
or is it removable?
I don't know. Let's assume stationary, because that's more structural. Movable is obviously a different. But
Is
let's
there a
assume-
residence there?
Not yet. There would be. Wait, no. I think. Hang on. There would be a residence there. They'd be buying a house lot. Yeah, and adding a
But
dock.
there's no residence there now.
No, I believe there actually would be. Yeah, no, I think they're looking at buying an existing residential lot and adding a dock.
Well, not an existing residential lot. Is there a house there? Is there a
Yes,
residence?
yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So,
But this is more in
Sec-
the realm of the hypothetical because I don't know exactly which lot
Yeah.
it is, but yeah.
do you want me to answer the question, Bill?
Yes, go ahead.
Well-
I have opinions, but
There's a couple of ways it could be approached. If there's actually residents on the property and they come in and they want to put a dock in, the question is who owns the pond bottom? If they own the pond bottom, then they don't have a problem. If they don't own the pond bottom, then they'd have to get the permission of
Mhm.
whoever owns the pond bottom in order
Right.
to clear through the wetlands commission. They would need some kind of approval from the wetlands agency to put in a dock, regardless. Whether or not it was a use permitted as of right under maintenance and enjoyment of residential home, or whether it was a recreation, which is a non-regulated use, provided you don't alter the natural indigenous character of the wetland or water course. Typically, ones that are stationary, I do recommend that they come in and get a license for that if it's a permanent structure. If it, in the past, I've looked at removable docks. It's usually if they are coming from the shore and they can be taken out and put in and taken out, when the pond is frozen. Those tend to be more maintenance and enjoyment of residential home. But a permanent structure is a little different, and it might interfere with other people's uses of the water body, and that has to be looked at a little more carefully.
Mhm. Okay.
plus they might want to do something on the shore, some digging or something on the shore to have some sort of approach for it also.
Yeah, I'm bringing this up specifically on Pond Factory because I was interested to discover, I wasn't aware of this, if you're seeing this. So the pond itself, Muddy Pond, is a parcel 18-1, which is owned by apparently Patricia Anella and David Jensen, which is surprising. I'm not totally sure that's correct, but that's what the GIS is indicating. So that would, exactly whose permission they would need to get. I want to dig into that a little bit more.
Well,
Well,
Factory Pond,
There's
Go
two
ahead.
18-1 parcels there. There's the
Yeah,
pond and then there's the lower right.
right. This little lot right here. So that could
Yep.
just be a cartography error. but it, it's labeled as 18-1. So I'm just, I'll want to dig into that a little bit more. But yeah, that was, I had assumed, yeah, Martha or Marla, in other communities, yeah, the who owns the pond is usually the one that would make that decision.
Yeah, so the question, well, we would require them to get a release, meaning a letter of
Yeah,
saying it's
permission.
okay. But is that pond subtended by a dam? Is it created by, no? It's
No,
a,
I don't know.
It's a
I don't think so. I think
glacial-
it's a natural. I think it's a natural pond.
it's a
okay,
natural pond with a natural outlet. Yeah.
okay, so then sometimes ponds with dams on them, the pond bottom is owned by whoever owned the dam.
Mhm.
But if there's no dam on it, then I wouldn't know. Yeah.
There's nothing to
Oh.
say that when the factory actually was there, that they didn't build up something. It's just there's no gate there now to allow the pond to go down or to control the flow of the water.
But is there an embankment with a spillway?
No.
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 Okay, no. Well, who knows? Good luck, John.
Thank you. So anyway, and they didn't actually tell me which property they were looking at. They just said, "Oh, we're looking at like 9 acres on Pond Factory. What's it take?" So, all right.
Only
No,
need an approval by the wetlands agency,
right.
regardless.
Okay.
Some kind of approval.
Yeah.
For the record, John, you probably already know, but the north section of that pond is in Massachusetts.
Yeah, the very tip of it. Yeah.
Okay, do you have anything else to comment on, John?
No, not unless anyone. So I mean, the other activity was part of the agenda. So if anyone has any questions, I'm
Yes,
happy
I
to-
do. The second item on your report, John,
Mm.
is on the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
The scenic road, Quarry Road,
yeah.
that process. Now, was the NOV issued under planning and zoning violations? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
While you were there, did you notice if there was any need for a timber harvest permit, or if there was activity around a pond or a water body there?
I
Did
did
you-
not. I know that. I mean, the south part of Quarry Road, as you go into Pomfret, is basically all swamp.
Right.
It's a huge swamp. This was taking place primarily on the north side of Quarry Road. Obviously, there are some wetlands, but there was tree clearing that had been done many a while ago. It wasn't recent. This was tree clearing that's sort of right along the road.
Okay.
Again, primarily on the north side. It didn't seem to me, and when I drove through, that there was any immediately proximate wetlands that seemed to be affected, but we're still waiting for Mr. Sheldon, who the individual, to come in and explain himself. He has not yet.
Yeah,
Which Shelton is this?
Brian.
So,
Um,
okay, but does the applicant also own the parcel on the south side of Quarry Road, or just
No, he owns,
Okay,
I believe, only the north side.
only the north side? Okay.
So yeah, this is causing much consternation amongst the neighbors, amongst planning and zoning, amongst some others, and we sure
Right.
do hope that Mr. Sheldon will come in and explain himself and make it right.
Okay.
Is
So
he
I
the
just,
owner? Is he the current owner?
Yes. He bought it. I believe that hasn't been updated either, Marla.
I believe it was
know what?
purchased within the last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that it was.
Do you know what the lot number is?
Yeah, hang on.
I'm trying to look it up on GIS.
It's basically the last one. It's owned by Kings Highway Farm LLC. That's Mr. Sheldon. It's well, I can show you on the map.
I got it.
It's basically the last one in Woodstock
Yep.
before Quarry Road dives down into Pomfret. It's map
Okay,
Uh,
I'm
I've got
satisfied
it.
with what you
389
observed.
7023. What's that?
I'm satisfied with what you observed, John. I just wanted to know if you had noted any potential wetlands or timber harvest violations.
No, I did not. It was. I mean,
Okay.
he clearing some trees, and not enough that I would consider it a timber harvest. But at any
Okay.
rate,
So I don't know if this was, I don't believe this is any of the parcels, but the town disposed of some parcels in that
Right.
neighborhood, but this is not one of them.
That was
The
east
went
of
to,
this property.
Yeah.
But Mr. Sheldon did have a history in Thompson.
Yeah.
With doing work, clear cutting in wetlands.
and yeah, doing
That were
doing a lot
flagged.
of shoot first, ask questions later.
Mhm.
shoot first and don't ask questions.
Yeah, and
Okay, well, keep us posted, John.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
All right,
Okay, do we
that's
have
what I
any
have, Mr. Chairman.
uh, correspondence? I don't know that we have anything that we need to, that qualifies as that we need to discuss.
Yeah, because, well, it could fall under correspondence, or, well, I don't know if we've got coordination with, the MOU. It's really sort of how you want to handle it. We did get a letter from Jason Scranton, Director of Public Works.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to cover that under the draft MOU. This is a 3-page letter that he drafted explaining some of the recent projects that the Wetlands Commission has dealt with. That's if you click on the correspondence link, you'll get Jason Scranton's letter. I didn't know if you wanted to handle that under MOU or under correspondence.
Let's handle that right now. Get that out of the way. Actually, I gotta plug myself in too.
So I can put it on screen, or
Yeah,
people. I don't know
yeah,
if people
yeah,
are
go
looking.
ahead.
Okay.
Yep. I don't know how many people have seen this or considered it.
I have Marla Butt speaking. I've read it already. Very enlightening.
What are we looking at?
So this is a letter that was submitted by Jason Scranton, Director of Public Works, to the Wetlands Commission that
When?
reviewed
When?
a few recent projects, including Salvis, Heartling Landscape, and then the Dupree Road.
When was the letter written or issued?
It is the 22nd of August.
Okay.
And I don't know, Mr. Chair, I'll take your direction. I don't know what you want me to focus on here.
Does he have a complaint, or is he
No.
pointing
No,
out?
it's
things-
more of explaining the town's position on a couple of recent
Explaining,
applications
okay.
and activities.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any problem knowing what the work he did. I was just trying to gather information for what he did on Harrisville Road. So that's why I brought it up, because I noticed the road had recently been repaved and that the pipe had likely been replaced. So that's why I brought it up for discussion. And I have no problem what he did. He actually, I think with the riprap that he's using is a great improvement.
Well, he also stated that if we take the two projects separate, let's look at Salvis first. Salvis, he was saying he's never had a problem of overtopping at that road. Remember, that was one where I said that there wasn't any hydraulics done for it.
Yep.
And this would have met the requirements of the MOU.
Yep.
He was replacing in kind with the same size, not the same type, but the same size, and he wasn't changing the inverts, and it was within all the limitations that we had identified in the MOU. So that was fine. He also identifies when he did it, which was in the spring of 24, which was last year.
Yeah.
So I'm perfectly fine with what he said on Salvis. And then when we get to the Dupree Road,
Well,
there
let's
seems-
just before we move on there, I just have a comment about that.
Yep.
So he had corrugated pipe in there, but he replaced it with the plastic pipe,
Plastic.
which is smooth wall on the inside. So you have potential increase in velocity coming out of there because it's smooth instead of rough. So that would be the only consideration, but I don't think in this case it made any difference.
Yeah. I don't think it makes
Okay.
a whole lot of difference. The fact that he changed the type of pipe.
Yep.
And I suspect that that actually is an intermittent water course, but we don't have proof of it.
Yep.
Because we didn't have it in the spring. We didn't see it in the spring.
Okay, you can continue, Marla.
Okay, so then if we go down to the Dupree Road site, he's stating that they never extended the pipe under where the pipe that was replaced, or the pipe that was claimed to have been extended from on the towns. He said they didn't extend it, and in fact, the once they cleaned it, they found out that it was smaller size than what they had expected, and they have had problems down there with it clogging and stuff. And it probably, what he did would have been covered under the MOU that we had. But there was a discrepancy between what the property owners were saying they were told and what he said he told them. And so it's a he said, she said, and I don't have real problem at this point in time, but it did point out that if we have the MOU specifically to say that when anybody approaches them to do work next to the town's property, that they direct them to the wetlands office, that they don't have to worry about making the decision of, well, does it fall within the wetlands jurisdiction or not? Just send them to the wetlands office and let the agent or the agency to make that decision. In this case, I don't think they knew that there was a wetlands delineation on that property when they went and looked at it. When Jason and the first selectman looked at it, they didn't know. So I think had they known that, they would have been a lot more definitive in their comments to them. But I think I'm sorry that he went through this, because I got to tell you, Public Works does a really great job in this town. Compared to other towns, and I give them kudos all the time for the things that they do. And the whole purpose of the MOU was to try to get everybody to be on the same page. And I think this makes the point that the Public Works should not be left to try to make decisions as to whether or not they should send them to us or not. Just send them to the wetlands agency and let that decision be made. And that way they'd be covered, and make it really clear. Because I was told by the first selectman that they told them, get whatever other permits, authorizations you need. But Jason said that they specifically said that you go see wetlands. But that we heard something different from the owners. So it helped me to redraft little pieces of the MOU. When we get to that, I can explain. But Jason did a good job in explaining what the situation was. I just want to say I support his work and what they have done in the past. I am not so sure about the work that was done on the Young property. That's the one upslope from the Dupree, where according to the soils map, the NRCS soils map, there were all wetland soils through that property. So, but that was done by John Navarro, which was his predecessor. And there's a drainage easement on it now. So I have no idea what they did there. Because they never came to the commission.
I know that was a long-term issue of contention of trying to get the town to take some responsibility in that, because I believe that the town sort of created that when they put the pipe in, and may have done some work on that lot that might preceded when Margaret Mitchell, or when Margaret bought that property, but it took them like 20 years to get the town to commit to the maintenance of that.
Yeah, well, just like Payne Road, they should have come to the wetlands to at least get an approval for it. And then we would have identified potential problems downstream, which is what we're dealing with last month.
Yeah, yeah. So John responded to, Jason, but I haven't responded, Jason. I was mulling over how I wanted to respond and, um, whether I should respond in the first place. Does anybody have any feeling that we should make any endorsement from the Wetlands Agency or other comments?
I think we should adopt a memorandum of understanding with Public Works and let that speak for where the commission stands.
Okay. Yeah, the only other thing I say is that when I asked him to go out and look at that site, the Hartling site, the day after the night of the heavy rain, I just was not sure what to expect there. So I wanted to get a baseline, and I was working, I couldn't go out there myself and see it. So I just wanted him to observe it and say, oh, we got a bigger problem here or not, or it's not a problem. So I wanted to have a little bit of a baseline to work on going forward from them. So that's why I had him go out there and look at it after that evening storms. I did go myself later on, but like I said, during the day, I wanted him to see for the benefit of everybody if there's a bigger problem there than we know about.
Mhm.
Okay, I think, do we need any further discussion on this? Okay, financial report, I don't think we have a financial report. Do we have one, John?
Oh, geez, no, I apologize for that. Yeah, no, I don't want, not to throw Tracy under the bus. She was out most of last week. She normally pulls that together.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, it's early in the year
if it's
too,
important,
so-
I can distribute it. I can circulate it around to the commission.
Well, we have
well,
next
it's
to no
early in the
money.
year.
Yeah, I don't know that there's
Right,
much
we
to
still
report.
have no money.
Yeah. All right, so we'll go past that now. Discussion of electronic signatures. So Marla has been doing some work on this. Um,
Yeah, I
asked
believe
I asked John to post an email exchange on so that we can look at what Marla really wants to have answered. And there was an issue of who made the request for the town attorney. So before I sent anything along, I just wanted to take a look at it and see if there's anything we want to add to it or change at this point. So go ahead, Marla.
Well, I don't have anything to screen share. I wasn't prepared to screen share, and I didn't see it on the list of documents that were up there. But let me go back to
Yeah, I
say
can-
how it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I-
yeah.
Yeah, Marla, it's there under discussion of electronic signatures. I'll screen share.
If you could screen
Yeah,
share, I'll explain how this all got evolved. As you know, I'm working on the new application forms, and I was doing the work on the discussion of instructions. And I went on to the town's website to look at the application forms because Tracy had asked me a question about what form to use for something. And I went on the website and saw that it had become an autofill form. And and I had talked to Crystal Adams in the selectman's office, and she has taken our forms and converted them as to electronically fillable forms, and she included the signature line as a fillable form. But there wasn't anything there about, how this electronic signature could be viewed as being a valid signature. So I started doing some investigation, and I brought it to her attention, and she had made a comment to me about her interpretation of what the requirements for an electronic signature were, but that's not what I was getting off of the internet. And the internet talks about a digital certificate from a third party authority. And that means that somebody just can't type in a script with their name and say, that's my signature. No. There's a way to certify that. And if anybody's applied for a new credit card through or applied for any number of things, and you have to have digital certificate for your signature. So I sent an email to Crystal because I had a lot of questions. I said, well, I'll send it to you and then let the town attorney give us advice, because I couldn't find any advice from the state of Connecticut on digital signatures. And because I needed it for doing the new application forms and the instructions, because if somebody's going to give us a digital signature on an application form, then that has to be included in the instruction packet that I've been developing. So that's resulted in this email that I sent out to Crystal. And so, and I also, so I asked her in this email to take off the automatic signature, the fillable signature on the application forms, and she has done that. So they are not automatically, nobody can automatically type in their name as the signature on our current application forms. But these were the questions that I wanted to have town council advise us on as to how, because apparently it's never been done. Nobody's ever checked to find out what's legally required for electronic signatures. And so that resulted in the one that you see on the screen right now. So I was asking her to ask these questions of the town council, and so that we could get some direction as to how to proceed with our new application forms, as well as if we're going to allow electronic signatures on the current application forms. And I got an email back from the first selectman that said, you know, only the chair, members can't ask for legal advice from town's attorney. Only the selectmen can do that, and they will do that at the request of the chair of a commission. So I overstepped my bounds, I guess. So, not uncommon for me to do, I guess. So anyways, these are the questions. These are the questions that I was asking for, and I would like Bill to echo those as a request for legal advice, so that we can proceed with our new application forms, and I can get the correct instructions developed for applicants for those new forms. Because
Marla,
currently,
nope, go ahead. I didn't realize.
currently now applicants cannot do an electronic signature on our application forms, because Crystal took that fill-in form for signature away. So they have to hand sign it. They can generate it electronically, but they're going to have to sign it themselves and deliver it.
So I see it. Go ahead,
I'm
Kathleen.
sorry. I was just going to ask Marla, when you were talking to Crystal about all this, did she indicate that anybody else was having this same discussion or problem, issue, whatever you want to call it? Because this is a big bone of contention in a lot of places. I think eventually the state is going to come out with something for standards. Maybe the town should have something for standards, so we don't have one thing and some other commission has some other thing.
Part of the reason for asking for legal advice would be to get that as a standard, because
Yeah, well,
once the legal people weigh in on it, then it would be they would most likely apply to other agencies within the town too.
Well,
so I guess it's in Bill's court.
there is a state statute governing electronic submission of building plant permits.
Mhm.
And you know, probably half the municipalities at this point have basically are, you know, paper free for land use applications and accept, you know, digital applications for planning and zoning and building.
That's what Permit Link is.
Right.
And which is what they use in Woodstock for the building permits. And I believe, I don't know if they're doing zoning permits yet or
And
not.
zoning as well.
Okay. So the difference, the reason why I have not promoted the use of Permit Link is I have yet to find any town that has used their wetland stuff for Permit Link or gotten comments from them. When I was in Thompson, they were talking about using Permit Link for wetlands. You see, building permits and zoning permits are basically you meet the standards or you don't meet the standards. It's a yay or a nay. But for wetlands, it's like a jurisdiction. There's what's the word I want to use? subjective
Mhm.
interpretations, and there are conditions that can be put on. Now, PermitLink may be able to deal with the conditions and stuff, but issuing an approval through the PermitLink may be more problematic. And I never got satisfactory answers from PermitLink when I asked them about certain conditions. Tell me what towns are already using PermitLink for wetlands. They never gave me a listing of who that was, because I would have contacted them to find out what was their experience in using PermitLink. So the town is tending to want to go towards paperless applications, but we're not there yet. And I'm not the first concern I have right now is, how do we get that digital signature? And it's a different type of digital signature from a land surveyor or an engineer. They have slightly different standard. They have a different statute that they go under, I believe. So I think it's appropriate for us to ask the Board of Selectmen to ask for you, Bill, to ask the Board
Yeah.
of Selectmen to ask these questions and see what kind of answers we get, so that I know how to draft up the instructions for the new application forms.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd
Well,
like to just,
historically,
sorry, go ahead, Bill.
I had discussion with Janet Brooks quite a while ago about this, and at that time, it was email and electronic signatures wasn't acceptable. But at this point, it's further down the road, it's worth at least revisiting and getting clarification on it. Maybe people are using Permit Link or other things, septic signatures, and it's not really legal for them to do it. So we need to at least establish for ourselves the legal framework for it, to be able to do it.
Well, I think under PermitLink, you have to register with PermitLink so that you get a digital signature. You get a certificate for your signature.
Yeah.
And that's through PermitLink itself. Now, it's possible to get a digital certificate through Adobe Acrobat, or the town could have a third party online to handle their digital signature certificates. So these are things that we just still have to explore, but we need some answers to questions first.
The other thing is, people aren't the average person might not understand what we call a digital signature. It's a licensed, it's like getting notarized signature that, it's licensed, and there's, codes and things that transfer with it. It's not like the cut and paste from your signature you create in Word to fill a form. So there's that issue with it also. But for now, I guess we need to just find out what you've already brought up and get some clarity on that. I'm sure we're not the only ones who brought that up. So does anybody have it? Go ahead, Mark.
Yes, I have a comment. So just as an example, Marla, in your readout here, number 2C about meeting the requirements of submitting an application, if it's either in our current town regulations or if it's in our standard operating guidelines that permits, applications must be submitted, on the last business day before a meeting, and we find out that, electronically they could do it on a Sunday, we'd have to either change our standard operating guidelines or our application process if it does say that it has to be at the end of the business day. So, we need to work through that issue. I haven't had time to look at our current inland wetlands regulations for the town. If in the application section it talks about when it must be submitted for consideration.
Well, obviously, if town hall's not open on Friday,
Right.
it can't be received on Sunday or Saturday or Friday, so it has to come in on Thursday in order to be considered received.
Right.
The statute, however, under the Inland Wetlands Act and the zoning statutes, I don't know, it's 8-7D, something like that. They don't talk about, they just say, you know, the day before. They don't talk about business day. So there's some question in
okay.
there. See what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah,
So-
yeah, right.
But if it's in the mail, the US mail, you're not getting US mail, so you ain't gonna get it the day before. But if it's electronic, you could get it the day before. See what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Okay, Marla, the only thing I noticed is it says, PS about the attached PDFs of Google inquiries. I'm not sure that, the CC copy that I got have those. I'd have to go back and look.
Crystal
So
was
I might need-
asking for those. Crystal was just asking why I was asking these questions. I said, well, I went on it and I got AI, what is it, the automated intelligence, whatever you want to call it, came up with a whole list of stuff that told me what a digital certificate is. And that's why I attached it, because she was saying it's just intent. You just have to show your intent, and that's not all it is. You have to be able to trace it back to some certification. So
Yeah.
that's why I attached those, and they're not really critical to the question.
Okay, so I can strike that line and not worry about it?
Yeah.
Okay,
And she did
Okay,
comply
then
with my with my request to take the fill-in off of the current forms. The fill-in
Okay.
field that she put in.
well, I'll look over the introduction and see if there's anything I want to add and see if I can get that off as soon as possible to get some answers. Okay, I don't know that we need to discuss that any further at the moment. So next, how about if we jump to the MOU and see if we can knock that off?
John, could you screen share the red line version? That's the wrong one. All right, what did I do? MOU, draft MOU. Yeah. I guess I only gave you a red line version.
Is the
So-
one I'm sharing not the correct
Yes,
version?
that's the correct one. That's the correct one. So after last month's meeting and all the issues that went on, I made some edits to the original one that we had posted that we put off to discussing. So I wanted to highlight the differences between what I had given you before and what I'm suggesting now. So most critical is some of them are typo errors. And the one that's most critical, I think, is I added maintenance activities do not include the extension of drainage pipes, culverts, or any associated filler structures. That was specifically in response to the Dupree's road, the property owner's comments about the culvert being extended. So I wanted to make sure that this didn't cover any extensions. And also I felt that it should be the first selectman should approve an emergency, not the public works director in consultation with the first selectman, since the first selectman is the one who controls all the, you know, the contract signing and all that kind of stuff. It probably should be the first selectman who makes the final decision at the request of the DPW. And I think, and then because there was a claim that maybe these people on Dupree Road weren't adequately advised, I added a sentence for further, when DPW receives inquiries from landowners and contractors wishing to perform work adjacent to Crown property managed by DPW, that DPW would advise the owners and contractors to contact the agency or its agent for advice regarding potential regulation. And then on the following page, did I change anything? No, I didn't. I didn't change anything on best management practices. So if you find this language acceptable, then we would vote on it, and then I would finalize the language with the red making and taking out the deletions and put in a date, whatever the date we vote on it for. And I would change the footers too, so that it would reflect what the file name is.
So we don't have a signature page though of anybody on
No,
here
because
though.
it'll be in the minutes.
Okay,
And it's only good for a year. Remember, we're
Yep.
not asking Public Works to sign off on it. We're just saying, this is what
Okay.
we understand. This is what the Inland Wetlands
Okay.
Agency. So it would have to be issued probably next month. We're almost coming, we'll be halfway through the fiscal year, just about. But if you decide that you want to move forward with this, then I will edit it as drafted, or make whatever changes you want to make. And then I'll give you a final copy that takes the word draft off of it and puts a date on for the next meeting.
So would somebody like to make a motion to have Marla proceed with formalizing this? Yep, finalizing and formalizing. Anybody?
Well, I could make a motion that we accept what is on the paper now, what's there, and send it forth into the world and wherever it's supposed to go. I think the thing that I was rolling around in my head is, why don't we want Public Works to sign off on it? I mean, what's a memorandum of agreement if it's only one side?
Well, it's not agreement, it's an understanding.
Well, an understanding.
We're saying this is the way we understand the wetlands law works. Whether they agree or don't agree, that's a little different. It's not like, I mean, you could argue that that both parties should sign. That becomes more formalized. The other thing was, I will correct, Bill, I had stated 2 meetings ago that this had been reviewed by the same town legal counsel in Ashford as ours. And
Uh-huh.
when I spoke to the chair again, and she said, no, she didn't have it reviewed through Halloran and Sage. So if you want to have this reviewed through Halloran and Sage before you make a decision on it, that would be fine too. Because I thought she had told me that they had it cleared through Halloran and Sage, but apparently in further conversation with her, no, they hadn't.
Well, as getting back to what you just said before, this is it's a memorandum of understanding. It's a living document, and it's subject to revision continually if necessary. And so until somebody makes a legal issue, I think we can go ahead with it.
Mhm.
I wouldn't normally say that, but with your intent and the memorandum, the understanding part of it, that I think we're okay with doing it. And I would like to see it go forward. So do
Well,
we have,
I made
Go
the
ahead.
motion, so we need a second.
Is yours to finalize it or to approve this language? Because this isn't in final form.
It isn't in final form?
No, because you've got crossouts. This is
Oh,
redlined.
okay, yeah, but with the changes that you made,
Yep.
yeah, I think,
I'd rather have the commission look at it in its final form without any confusion.
okay, so why
So-
don't we do that the next meeting? Or beforehand? If you mail it,
So-
make the changes and email it out to all of us.
Well, I don't know whether or not that would constitute a meeting, because technically I think it's useful for the commission to vote on it. To say,
Okay,
yes, this is so what I can do is I can finalize this and present it for the next meeting for a final vote. I don't think you need a motion to do that. I can do that.
that's true.
no, that's fine. Let's just go with that then.
Okay. All right, then
Okay,
but in the next week, I will send out to every commission member a final version, as well as to the first selectman and to Jason. Stratton, Public Works Director, and say, this is the language we're expecting to move forward on. And I'll put a date in, and I'll put the date of the next meeting in.
Yep.
So
Don't
Marla, I would
Don't
just
tell
ask
him he
that,
doesn't have to sign it. Don't tell him he doesn't have to agree with it. Just give it to him and let's hope he signs it. So,
No, there's no
and-
signatures on it. I'm
well,
sorry,
and-
Bill. John is trying to say something?
yeah, no. So I would just
Go
ask that you instead of having you send it out directly to everyone, please direct it through my office and I'll send it out. Therefore, it's not an ex parte
Okay.
any kind of communication.
Good, that's
Okay.
perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'll send it to you, John, the final version, and then you send it out to wherever it's got to go.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on to application forms. And number H, we could probably table that because
Mm.
John says they're not gonna work on that anyway, so we're on F, draft IWWA application forms. Does anybody have comments or revisions
Well, it's going to
or
be on
anything for
hold.
these forms?
It's going to be
until
on
we
hold
get the-
until we get something back on electronic signatures. We don't have to, but these forms are set up so that they're perfect for fill-in forms. They'd also be perfect for like a permit link. If they use something like that, that had links to like map, block, lot, to street address, owner, a
Yep.
lot of that gets filled in automatically in permit link. When you go for a building permit, you don't have to go look it up and find it. So I think you do want to move forward towards the option for electronic signatures on this, so that it's not critical at this point. If John can live with the old forms for a little while longer.
That's fine. That's fine.
Just at this point, does anybody have any objections to the format that Marla has used with the base form and then the specific forms or other general comments on it? Stuart?
I don't know if an objection is appropriate, but I think that it needs more development. And I sent out the notes to everybody. I don't know if you had a chance to look at them, but I read an article in Hartford Business Journal, July 28th. I tried to get a link, but you have to have a subscription paid. So I didn't want to spend the money on that. But the article is about Katie Dykes, who is the commissioner for Connecticut DEP. And it's called Trimming Back. Connecticut attempts to buckle down on overregulation with environmental permitting reform. Some argue more is needed. It's an interesting article. She's trying to get her application forms. She's calling it 20 by 26, so that by the year 2026, she will have 20 significant elements in that application that would be subject to approval and review and approval. So I think that with what they're saying, what one of the comments that she's saying is that the staff is telling her that 40% of their time is spent in review, and that's a lot. So she's trying to. The big complaint is that a lot, of course, we're not so induced by commercial projects and all of the industrial situations with siting and things. But I think the effort was also significant. There was a comment made about how if it begins at the granular level, which I would consider Woodstock, then it could grow into a more managed approach towards permitting. And I've seen it at the other end of the spectrum. As you know, when I've talked to you about working in New York, It's just Byzantine labyrinth of layer upon layer upon layer of regulations. And I think what that does is it promotes an environment where people are just going to say, I don't need no stinking permit. I'll ask for forgiveness later. And that's the culture that we're faced with.
So
So that's what I make in the first part of those are just my 2 cents notes. But as a result of reading that article and as a result of my own personal experience as a licensed professional, I'm just, passing that along.
have you ever tried using one of DEP's application forms, like say for stormwater general permit? Or
No, I haven't. I've only used Permalink.
yeah,
with other
well,
towns.
their permits, their general permits are so convoluted. It's
Yeah.
so hard to understand. If you're trying to get a discharge permit that's for stormwater, I can understand why people say this is just too complicated. This is too complex. I don't think what I've drafted up for the applications here is anything less than what we really ultimately should be having anyways. It's not, I tried to produce it in a, well, I can't say it's a 5th grade level reading, but I tried to make it so that the words that were used were not going to be over somebody's head all the time. And when you
Well, I
look
think-
at the stuff at DEP puts out, it's quite convoluted in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. And I would agree with you.
I think there should be 2 objectives to consider: is efficacy and facility. An efficacy in the approach that facilitates the process, so that on one side of the desk, the applicant side, they're not facing frustration, and on the other side of the desk, the staff and the IWWA, the agency, is not overburdened. I think that's
In what way?
where. Well, I think that the requirement of the time requirement to process these applications is a consideration that we should think about. And how we can do that is, my suggestion is just to think about prioritizing how to make it easy. If somebody looks at an application form, look at it from the applicant perspective. If they don't do this all the time and they get this kind of a form, it's going to put people off. So one of the things I'm trying to suggest is it's how the IWWA presents itself. And if you want to look at it in the realm of what the POCD is doing, we've got to think about what's sustainable for this commission, for this agency. And right now, we have not had a new member since Kathleen for 5 or 6 years. And they're not lining up at the door to come in. We're going to need people to come in and take over at some point. So we've got to entice people, not only from our side, to look at how to manage this process, but we've got to make it so that somebody on the outside, a property owner, is not going to be trying to skirt around us and ask for forgiveness instead of permission. So I think that, we can inject some vitality into the process, and we can invite people to see what the results of all this will be in the long term, is that they get what they want, but we maintain a quality in the environment, which is what, somehow we've got to be able to curate that idea and get it out there. Those are only my thoughts.
What would be your approach? What would be your approach to say that the way I set up the application form is I have basic information on a base form, and then depending on what you want to do, you fill out a different form. How would you approach it? How would
I
you
would-
approach to make it
I would-
easier?
I would prioritize it from you know, what we could look at it in terms of what do we see most often and what is, you know, a random everyday kind, not a random, but an everyday kind of application. And the more complicated ones can be at the end of the we can layer it. You know, the easy ones up top and then something more convoluted or complicated down at the bottom. The objective that I'm trying to convey is navigation. We cannot get rid of regulations, but how do we make it easy to process?
Well, I think once John becomes comfortable with wetlands agent approvals for not having to bring it, those can come fairly quickly. He can't do uses permitted as of right or net or non-regulated uses. Those are the jurisdiction of the commission. He cannot do permits. So what you're suggesting is that we change the agenda so that rather than taking new applications first and then pending applications second, that we somehow prioritize them by the type of application they are?
Just a thought, a suggestion.
Yeah, so.
John, you have a lot of experience with this. What, do you have any insights?
No, I mean, it would be, I think, I mean, what Marla is putting in is all important information. And obviously when you're faced with, you know, 11-page document with a lot of fields, it can be very, very intimidating. But you know, when you break it down, like the I don't know, I don't know if I'm just going to be rambling here. The first 2-page form is relatively digestible. And then it's sort of a choose your own adventure that if there's more stuff, well, then you need this paperwork too. I don't know.
Well, I think one thing, John, is we can't, not to negate what Marla was saying, but we can't evaluate how a application is going to work out until we have the application.
Right.
If the applicant can't fill out the application intelligently and understand what they're putting down or whatever, it's not an application. So that's got to be the place where we got to start. We've got to make it. I think we should give it to a bunch of second graders and see if they understand it.
And I mean, you know, it could be, and I mean, you know, Marla has up front on the first page, and I can bring this back up if you guys want to see it. But you know, a couple of like, what's the request type? You know, is it jurisdictional? Is it timber harvest? Is it an agent approval? Is like that?
Yeah.
Like that's the key sort of piece of information to sort of like send you on your journey. It would be nice if it was, you know, every component was just that simple. Like, you know, here's one checkbox. Okay, here's the form for that checkbox. And I mean, and maybe we just need to set up well, I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
let me
sure.
maybe we could do it just by traffic volume. What constitutes the largest amount of applications that we see? What type of applications are they? And you know,
small, I think relatively small structural work in upland review areas and things like driveway crossings with, you know,
like the shed and the driveway
Yeah.
crossing. Yeah, those were really quick. So maybe we could start with them, because if somebody is coming in with a shed installation, you know, or a wall repair or a driveway crossing, you know, they can be done quickly, more quickly. It still has to be thorough. I'm not trying to cause, you know, suggest any shortcuts at all, but I just think that, you know, making it easy to process for someone that doesn't do it very often.
As far as I'm concerned, this is Bill. We needed to have some improvement on our applications anyways. And this is definitely an improvement. It's the next logical step in what we're doing. I'd be in favor of going forward with these, and just putting them to use, and then we'll find out in the process of what we need to do differently. I'm not usually too much interested in making things simpler, just because there might be something that gets past us that that we might not have anticipated, or
No, I
like
think there's a,
driveway crossing.
I
There's
agree.
a certain
There's
amount of stuff you need, but
there's a difference between simple and simplistic. I know that.
Yeah.
But
And I mean, ultimately,
I'm not suggesting simplistic at all, but I am saying ease of access could be something to really look at.
Yeah.
We don't
And I
want to
mean-
intimidate, as John said, and I think that's really a good point, is we don't want, if we can make it more user friendly, that's probably
I
a real
would like to
big
throw,
thing.
I would like to throw out one idea that I had, a tutorial. I don't know if we could apply for like a DEP grant, or maybe Yukon Clear. We could get somebody involved to help us develop a tutorial for applicants, so that they could, like, log onto our website and click on the tutorial, about, that would cover, all questions that they might potentially ask, and how to fill out parts of the application, etc.
Yeah,
Just a thought.
but Mark,
Good idea.
Stewart is a step behind that. I think you're going to have people out there still who don't even know how to use a computer, and going to have trouble figuring out what they need to use also to get this information. And so I think Stewart's more leaning in that direction. How do we make it for the person who is not conversant in all these things? How do we make it for a person who's afraid to even go to the town hall? You know, do we really
There's a-
need to do that? And how much do we need to do that?
Well, that comes down to then, and enforcement. There really won't be that much enforcement that we can expect, because we don't have the resources for that. So that's why I'm trying to make the suggestion, is that we don't overburden ourselves and our resources. If we can take common sense and try to apply it to this process, it's accessible. Then, over time, we can gradually make it more sophisticated.
Well,
Well,
Stuart,
Stuart-
that's exactly, we really ought to start with the simpler stuff and figure out, okay, so we put this in and it's not going to work because it doesn't have all the information, but yeah, this works real well, so let's stop here. Has anybody here actually filled out an application for what we're talking about?
For wetlands,
Well, I mean, you probably have, but I mean, I haven't. So
So,
maybe we need to start there, and then we all need to take Marla's, what the suggestions that she's got, and each one of us fill it out and see where we end up.
well, yeah, it's. I think we have more experience than that. I think that what I'm
Well,
trying to
you
say,
guys do.
yeah, I think we've got to build on that instead of using empirical process. We've got a lot of experience that we can use to anticipate what is going to be going and what we can expect. So that should be applied now. We have a chance. We're in a
Well, you
draft.
have, but you
We're in
have
the
the
draft.
experience, you have the experience, Stuart, in all the stuff that goes with this, but what kind of experience do we have with the average Joe that walks in and, I'm sorry, I forgot who said this a minute ago, doesn't even have a computer?
Well, that's where the struggle is. That's where, Mark has a good idea with a tutorial. Because it may not need a computer, but it may just need, it could be a typed out something as a reference.
How about a YouTube?
Oh, I
Yeah,
love
there we
YouTube.
go.
I mean,
I
that's
do
what I'm saying.
YouTube.
Yeah,
Little short YouTube.
yeah.
I
Definitely.
would make a comment about the fact that DEP is looking to take the DEP reporting form, the requirement, doing it 100% digital. There will be no paper copies.
Mm.
That's where they're going. So people who don't have computers, a lot of the information that I put in the like say on the front page, the property information, some of the stuff isn't really critical because we can look it up ourselves, like the volume and page of the deed. They don't need to fill that out. I could remove that. All the stuff about the square footage in the upland review area, the square footage of wetlands to be altered, the open body water, the linear feet, land disturbance, all that is what's required in the DEP reporting form. We don't use it normally. That's not for us. I could take all that stuff out if they could do it, the DEP reporting form. But the problem is some people don't submit the DEP reporting form and the agent has to fill it out. So if they have it on the form, the agent doesn't have to go and calculate out what the aerial extent of the work in the upland review areas. You've asked the applicant to provide it. And if they don't provide it, then now, so there are reasons why some of the information is there because it's mandated by the state legislature. For the DEP reporting form is part of, actually it's in DEP's regulations. And they use that to get a federal grant from EPA. And EPA's money has dried up. So there's no money funding that program anymore. And nobody's even recording that information anymore into a database because DEP used to do a status and trends report every year to say what the direction our wetlands were going in. They'd collect all the information from all the towns, and that's not happening anymore. That information is going into a file drawer and not being used. But we're being required to make the applicants, or we have to, as the agent or the agency, make sure that DEP supplies it, because if we don't supply it, then DEP won't give us certain monies, grant monies and things like that. That's what they're going to use as a method of forcing the submission of those documents that they don't use anymore, or they haven't been using in a long time. So, I mean, I could take things out of this application form that were originally set up for the DEP reporting form. But that means it won't be available if somebody fails to submit that. And unless we change the regulations to say that you have to submit that, and that's something that's required by DEP. So maybe Katie Dykes is going to remove that requirement from the from the wetlands agencies to have to submit that reporting form if they're not going to use the data. If they don't have the funding from EPA to come up with a status and trends report, then why require us to submit the data in the first place if it's not going to be used anymore? So
Yep, let's see what Katie does.
yeah, we'll see what Katie does.
Well,
Anyways, so I think maybe going to a YouTube, ultimately what I'd like to see on this is if it could go into an electronic version where you could link to some of the GIS information that we have. So they click on the form and there'll be links in the form that could click them to a particular location on the GIS, and they could look up some of the information that they needed. A lot of this information is already on the GIS if they just look it up.
So
But
it's just really a matter of preparation, and all I'm saying is this is a presentation that we should give some careful thought instead of just like blasting it out.
well, I've given it a lot of careful thought, having been an agent for 12 years or 13 years, and then worked at DEP for 32 years. I have an and being a commission member here for, I don't know, close to 11 years, 12 years. I've
But
seen both.
that's what I'm saying. Sometimes just that's a huge amount of experience, and that's why I say kudos to you. But at the same time, maybe just a fresh pair of eyes that has no experience.
Like you have no experience
Like-
with wetlands applications.
Yeah.
Try doing one.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
why don't
Kathleen.
we? Yeah, why don't we just try it and take a collaborative approach and see what we can do?
I'll do one. I'll do one.
Well, you live on a lake,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So why don't you try doing something that you wanted to
Okay.
do within 125 feet of the lake? See if you can come
Okay.
up with
All
an
right,
applic,
I could do that, yep.
and see how difficult it is.
I'd like
Okay.
I'd like to dig a pond, so maybe I can do one from that date.
There you go.
There
Okay.
you go. That would be a good one.
Well, I don't think we have to move on the application forms at this point in time until we get some, I do think that digital signatures is important.
Yeah,
Yep.
Getting some
Well,
information on that and finding out what DEP is gonna do with that electronic reporting form. Cause that will make our lives a lot easier if we don't have to, if
yep.
we're not required to have to submit those to generate them. Cause
I
as an
was-
agent, I hated generating a DEP reporting form from scratch if the applicant didn't supply it.
Yeah.
And mom and pops sometimes don't.
You see tonight, even what we're, like the sketches that we looked at tonight are very, very rudimentary. And I'm not knocking it or disparaging it in any way, but we have to deal with very sophisticated and also very rudimentary. And, how can we calibrate the application to suit that?
I
don't
think
think we
we've been doing
can.
that. I think we have been doing that. We let people
Yeah.
come in with drawings that which have a lot of wiggle room. And then there are other applications where there's actually work in wetlands and water courses that we don't. We make them have an engineer come in and that's a cost that they have to do. And most of these engineering firms, they develop all the application forms and everything. They don't, the property owner, the person who's hired
Yeah.
the engineer doesn't do it. They hire somebody to do it for them.
But
And
I
that
have
John's-
seen, what I have seen in here, sorry to interrupt, but what I have seen is that, people take shortcuts and the information that's presented is less than accurate. And, that's a fly in the ointment too. So
Call them out for that.
Well, yeah, whether or not, you change your forms or not, there's a bunch of boxes that are always left unfilled
Yeah.
in a number of applications. That's just, discipline.
Right,
And
and then that's why we've had our wetlands agent or a land use clerk, that can quickly go through it and just see, help the applicant, oh, you missed this one, kind of, go through. Having a tutorial or some sort of thing that at least maybe would take out 80% of the questions that they would normally ask you, John, when they came in, they'd have those checked off, and then you wouldn't have to spend quite so much time guiding them through filling out the rest of the form,
Yeah.
I think a tutorial on how to use the GIS, how to get information out of the GIS, how to use the land records, to get information out of the land records. Those are good YouTube tutorials. But that's beyond my capability. I've never done any
Yeah,
recording or anything like
yeah.
that. But that's something to perhaps look for funding for.
Right. Yep, that's what I was
Oh,
suggesting.
Or go over
yeah.
to the high school and ask their
There you
graphics
go.
department to
Yes, that's
build
perfect
us
idea.
Yeah, I've done that. It's not so easy. I did that and through that with the academy. We
And
produced
don't forget, we've got the Center for Land Use Education and Research at UConn.
There you go. That would
When I
be-
worked
that
when
would
I
be
worked
good.
for the DEP, they were really good at
Yeah.
taking on projects and doing things for the municipalities, developing boilerplate things for them. So yeah.
All right, I'd like to wrap up this discussion at this point, and we'll get into it some more, hopefully in the next meeting, if we don't have a long agenda.
Well, when you
Bottom
have
line
time,
is,
sorry to interrupt, when you have time just to finish off, just go to wetlands applications on YouTube and you'll see a whole bunch of stuff come up. There it is.
from
All right.
Connecticut
No, all over. Here's one from New
all
Hampshire.
over.
But
Okay.
all we need to do is find one that's relevant as a case study, and we could put a hyperlink on our website. So, I mean, that's just the start. And then while we work on getting our own put together. But There may be some already done in Connecticut. There are other towns that are pretty advanced.
Stu, why don't you look and send us
I'll
some
look.
links that we can look at, email us,
Okay.
actually email it to John and John can distribute it back to all of us.
Yeah.
Don't get me on any government watch lists though, please, Stu.
That's impossible to avoid.
Well, you have to use the right, what do you call it?
A combination of words. Just be
Yes.
careful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so we can at least agree that we need to improve our forms and look at what Marla has presented as a possible step up for
Yeah,
improvements.
it's a
At this
template.
point.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all, we could do like we do with the bylaws and have something, an annual review of the forms and see, what do we really need to change? What do we need to do? So we'll leave to at least a future date of final dispensation of where we're gonna approve the forms or change a little bit of the approach, but it's certainly gonna be improvement. So John, just quickly, do you want to give us a rundown of POCD where we're at? Or you want me to do it?
Yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead, Bill.
Okay, well, we met last week, and since we're kind of changing horses, that we're kind of refiguring out where we're gonna go. There's a lot of work done and a lot of data, but there's not a lot of goal setting and implementation planning. There's a lot of things that need to be refined significantly. So next time, we're gonna basically look at housing. The stuff that Delia did has some significant things in there, and we'll discuss that. And as time goes on, we will look at other sections. And the expectation right now is that the committee will have to be extended beyond November because there's no way we're going to get everything done by then. There's just way too much to do.
But
Did I miss anything?
Yeah, no. I mean, but broadly, the committee agreed on a vision statement and the structure, the outline of what the document will look like. So we at least have
Yeah.
sort of a roadmap.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So that's where we're at. We don't have any other citizens, I don't believe, here. If anybody else has any comments?
I do have a request. I would like to
Yep.
meet with Tracy and John to talk about how the documents are presented on the agenda. Because I'm thinking when an application comes up, there shouldn't be separate documents for the application drawings, the letters that came in and I don't know if Tracy has Adobe Acrobat. I know Dan
I don't think
got
she has the full version.
Yeah, Dan Malo, we got him a version of Adobe Acrobat, so he could combine all those. So when you had an application, all the materials for that application was in that one file.
Oh,
Everything
yeah.
that was associated with that application. It was much more confusing for me to work with this agenda with all of the separate files, and I was going back and forth. And so when you screen share an application, you've got all the documents that, if it's all in one file, you got all the documents that relate to that particular application. So you don't have to stop screen sharing and share another file. And so I thought I would come in and see if there's anything I can do to assist in getting the resources that you need. She definitely should have Adobe Acrobat. If she
Yeah.
doesn't know how to use Adobe Acrobat, I'll be happy to show her how to use it. I use it all the time.
Yeah, I honestly, I mean, I appreciate that, Marla, and to a certain extent, this month's agenda was a little bit more
Yeah.
scattered than it ought to have
Yeah.
been because Tracy's been out for 10 days now.
Oh,
So
I understand. Never
I
mind.
sort of had with the scramble this past Thursday
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
uploading documents to make sure that it was
Yep.
all there.
Yep.
I can work with her on that. I have a full version myself of Adobe, so I can combine files. it was just a bit of a hash this month.
Understand.
But
Now
yeah.
I understand. Okay, no problem.
Plus, I just want to make the point is that you can purchase a seat of Adobe Acrobat. You have to read the fine print or talk to somebody. You don't have to do the monthly payment thing like Dan thought, but you can purchase the seat.
There's I have a third-party reader that does everything that Adobe Acrobat does, and it's like $50. We can get that for her.
Now, one thing that Adobe Acrobat does do is it does give you digital certificates for signatures.
Yeah.
Which,
Huh.
which,
Ooh.
yeah, so that may be something that the town could use and require somebody to, instead of purchasing a certificate from a third party, having it available somewhere in town hall. Anyways, I'm not upset on that.
Excellent.
Okay, is there anything else anyone would like to discuss?
Nope.
Well, thank you everyone for this evening and thank you, Leanne, and thank you very much, John, for all your work. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn unless
I
somebody
make a
else
motion
would.
that we adjourn at 9:28.
Second.
Second that motion.
A lot of agreement.
Motion by Kathleen Barrick, seconded by Mark Parker, to adjourn at 9:28 PM. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Thank you very much,
Good night.
everyone.